Hi everyone, welcome to another Hatton's Model Railway SkillsCast session where we show you how to transform your layout into a fully working model railway. And today we're looking at adding some roads to our layout. Although we are called Hatton's Model Railways, we sell a wide variety of road vehicles, buses, cars, taxis, lorries, and various different ways to get them onto your layout too. And they really do help set the scene on a model railway of having the environment around it too. Whether you're running through a small town with a rural road or an old-fashioned scene with cobbled streets, you do really need to add roads to your layout to give them a little bit of character. So there's quite a few different ways that you can add roads to your layout. And what I thought I'd show you today are 3 of the most basic, simple ways to get started on adding these. There's a few different skills that you can learn. I've not got many tools here today. I've got a good craft knife and a good straight edge ruler too, which are both available from us if you do need to pick them up. As ever, I've got my trusty cutting mat and my close-up camera here so I can show you some of the skills I am doing in depth. But let's get started. And as ever, if you've got any particular questions, please do ask them in the chat and I'll try and answer as many as I can throughout the stream. Otherwise, if you're watching this later on catch up, do still put your questions down there and we'll check them out after the stream too. But let's get started. I've got a little bit of a layout here for us to work on. And I think we'll start with just adding a standard road as we are used to seeing out there. So single track road that you see with 1 lane per direction. I'll just hold this up to the smaller camera for you. This is the Gauge Master asphalt road that you can see here. This comes in a roll. You get just over a few meters of this in the roll that you see here. And this is a really easy way to add a road to your layout. It's self-adhesive, it's sticky backed, so you can just lay this straight on to your layout. They do come in straight pieces, but you can get the curves for them to go on too. So let's get this added. Let's just get it opened up. And then I'll show you just how easy it is to add this on. It does come pre-sized to fit most UK road vehicles. It's always good just to have a couple of die-cast cars to hand to make sure that we've got our dimensions right and we are just making sure that's fully correct there too. So I've put my little car on there and it's absolutely a-okay on both lanes. So let's get started. As always, we'll just measure how long we actually want our road to be. So we'll get our straight edge and let's go for a 20 centimeter stretch of road, just not quite big enough for the whole board here, but it will cover a decent part of it. So we'll stretch this out and get it ready to be cut. Now, this is where your good blade comes in, so do make sure you've got a good blade to hand. We'll just measure 20 centimeters from the start. Don't worry about the creases in it. They do disappear once you have stuck it down. So just mark where 20 centimeters is. Yeah, I've got that there. Just put a little cut in it to make sure we've got the start. And then get in our knife. We'll just position that, put a good bit of weight on the knife, and then just a straight cut through. Putting a lot of pressure on the knife as we slice through that, and that should come away. So this is how really easy it is to get this road onto your layout. Really easy indeed to use this. And this is quite cheap as well. It's only about £5 or £6 for the roll, and you do get a couple of meters in the roll, so it's really easy to get going on a budget. You'll see there, this is just adhesive on the back, so I will just pull that adhesive layer away. As ever, you do need a good pair of nails for this. It's not quite working for me with my short nails, unfortunately, but you can just about pull that away. As soon as you find a corner, make sure you stick it. And there we go. So you'll see there that that's a sticky back plastic. And as we did with our back scenes on the previous video, we're just pulling away a little bit at a time and sticking it down from the end there to make sure that we get no ripples or issues in that as we go. So you can just see from the side, we're pulling away the plastic as we go just sticking that down as it forms. So you can see there we're getting no issues with bumps or lumps, and we have a perfectly straight piece of road. And that is stuck on there. That is not coming away now. That's fully adhesive on the back. You can see that it's got a slightly raised edge there too. So a really good effect already. So that's really good. If we just want to start with a basic little road, as we've got here, this is a really good and simple way to start. Just a standard road, as you'd see all across the world. So it doesn't even have to be a UK-based layout that we're working on here. This can be used for an international layout too. Maybe just switch the car over to the other side, dependent on what country you're in and what side of the road you drive on. Let's add a little bit of detail to that now. Let's add some further items on. And we're going to be looking at a couple of different items from a range of different manufacturers. First of all, I'm going to show you the pelican crossings that you can get for pedestrian crossings that are used across the roads. You can get just self-adhesive markers as per this, but as you can also see on my larger screen, you can get them with fully working lights there for the pelican or the zebra crossings that you see, certainly in the UK. So we'll get that stuck on too. These again are fully adhesive. We'll just measure how wide we need that to be to cross our road. I make that out as 8 centimeters. So just put that out of the way for 1 second. And again, just grabbing our knife, we can cut this to the exact length that we require. So just make a note there of where we need to cut to. And then one short, sharp cut on our board here. Again, putting pressure on the steel rule as well as the knife, straight through, comes away in one cut. Very, very easy. And then peel that away. Move our car out of the way for 1 second. Don't want the traffic clogging up while we're putting this zebra crossing on here. And this again is just a sticky back piece. So make sure it's straight down and on. And now we've got a crossing on our road too. So we've been here, what, just over 5 or 6 minutes, and we've already got a road and somewhere for passengers to cross. Well, people to cross, shall we say, pedestrians. I'd then look at putting something like these set of traffic lights on that you see here. These are from the PD Marsh range. You can get these in 00 gauge and N gauge, and there's several different types covering the modern style traffic light and the older style traffic lights too. These are non-working, but you can get working traffic lights out there. You can also paint in a little bit more of the colours, should you wish. And you can see at the bottom there that there is a small area that you can stick them down on. So you can drill through your board with a pin vise or a small power drill and stick them in, and they'll stay there very, very firmly indeed. So you can then add them on as you wish. However, we need somewhere for these pedestrians to go. We do need somewhere for them to walk after they've crossed the road. So we can add some pavement too. Now, again, there's quite a few different ways to do this. The one I'll show you today is the Metcalfe stone slabs that you see here. These are fantastic for creating the paved type of pavements that you see all across the UK, both past and present. And again, these are completely self-adhesive, so you have absolutely no worries with any glue or anything along that style. I'll just get a sheet of these out. You get quite a few sheets in a pack, more than enough to do most roads on your layout for about £6 as well. And as always, every single thing I've shown you here today is available right now on our website. So do click that link in the description for more information. So let's head back to our little board and let's get some pavement, or for our international viewers, also a sidewalk. So let's get our pavement or our sidewalk added. These simply peel away and they're already adhesive. So it's a little bit of a labor intensive process, but it does really give a great effect, making sure you get the right designs there of the little pieces. So they're just straight adhesive on the back, as you can see. Press them down nice and firmly so they're up against the next piece. I'll just do a couple more for you so you can really start to get that effect there. And they just peel straight off the backing. You can use these for several different things too, but they really do look the most effective when you use them as a pavement or a sidewalk. But you can also use them for parks, pathways, the whole lot. So you can see there how that's really starting to form. And after a little while, you can build up that in a similar design to this. So you can just use whichever slabs you want. And you can put in the details there and really start to build that up. So now we have the road, we have the pavement, we have the zebra crossing. I've shown you some of the examples of the lights that you can get on there. And then again, just making sure we've got it about the rough and right size. You usually find that a pavement in the UK should be about 5 foot wide, but they can be thinner or thicker in some cases. So do have a look at some of the roads around where you live to see what the authentic sizes out there are. So we've had a look at one type, we've given this a go. What about if you're modelling a little bit of an older layout? What if you're heading back into the steam era of British Railways, into the 20th century, or maybe earlier? Have a look at this. This is the Chooch Enterprises cobble sheet. This works in exactly the same way as the Gauge Master Road that we saw before, but instead of being the asphalt finish, it's actually a fully 3D rendered cobble finish. You might not be able to see it too well on the screen here, but this is fully 3D. You can feel the individual cobbles on there. It does come fully pre-coloured. This is exactly how I'm getting it out of the packet right here, right now. And that goes straight down. This again is either adhesive with an adhesive backing, or you can stick it on using glue or similar. But again, all we do with that is just cut it down to the size we required. And then we would have a good set of cobbled roads already pre-weathered, as you can see here. There's no need to do anything to this at all to make it look fully authentic. And then with a more heritage vehicle, such as our Austin taxi here, it looks right at home on some cobbles. And even if you're modelling a more modern scene, but maybe a heritage railway or part of a town that still has its cobbles, especially up in the north of England, you can use this to put it down. If you're modelling hills, it's fully flexible, so you can find that you can make a bit of a slope in it, should you wish. So if you have a hilly town or a back scene there, you can put that on too. These sheets are a little bit more expensive with the higher amount of detail in them. They come in at £11 for a sheet, but they really are worth the extra value with the heightened level of detail that you do see in them. So take a closer look at those. Again, they're all in our description right now, and we have different scales available, whether you're an N gauge, O gauge, or a 00 gauge modeler. One last thing I want to show you in that area is you can also buy some of the detailing packs to go with these. So you can get some of the various sewer grids and maintenance, manhole covers, all that sort of thing that you can again cut out with your handy craft knife. They're cut out in exactly the same way, and then you can stick those in to the road, and they will just add a further bit of detail again to that part of the road. So you can put those in as and how you need them. So we've got a couple of different designs here now. We've got the Chooch Enterprises cobbles. We have the sticky backed road from Gauge Master here with the Metcalfe paving slabs and the Gauge Master Pelican Crossing too. One last quick one I want to show you is if you're modeling roads that have a little bit more of a wavy design in them. So maybe it's not quite a straight road as you see here, and you don't really want to do a lot of cutting. You can pick up the road kit from Woodland Scenics that I've got over here. These are separate different paints, and I'll just put them on the smaller screen for you here now. So you can either have a concrete or a asphalt top coat, dependent on where you're modeling. And all you do with that is just make sure that you use the ruler included. It does give you some really good scales for what you need in HO, N, or O. So it gives you the different widths of the roads and the pavements and sidewalks in that. So you don't need to measure them up. But then you'd measure out your road exactly where you needed it. Put your paint down with this special brush. Maybe even mask off the edges with a bit of masking tape if you wanted a straight edge. And then you would put that straight down there, and the paint then would give not only the finish, but it'd also give you some of the texture in there. It's a fully textured paint. In fact, I will put some down for you. Give me 1 second. I'll just show you a little bit of this, if I can take the lid off. So you'll see it's a fully textured paint, and then just spreading that really evenly, getting a good amount on there and building that up over several different layers. It does take a while to build up, which is why it's not coming through straight away. But after a couple of layers, that really would start to look like a fully asphalt finished road. It doesn't look too good at the moment, but as said, you do need to build up over a few layers. I'll add some images in the links so you can see how this looks when it is fully completed. But you can see the start of that coming up there. So this method takes a little longer, but you can get a lot more out of the paint. If you really wanted to use some of that paint there, it is a more cost-effective way of adding the roads. But as I'm sure you can imagine, instead of sticking down the different lengths that you have here, painting them does take a little longer, but it gives you more control over the shapes that you can have. Then you can add on your stripes and the various different warnings on the roads with the stripe pens that we do have available if you click the link in the description. So there's some great options that you can create here. You can either use the roads that we have already, or you can use the paints to build up some custom designed scenery too, such as Kelly's mentioned there. You could use this as a car park for a preserved railway, or you could use the cobbles for that if you want to create more of a heritage scene out there. But there's lots of different options here, and all of them have their own advantages and different cutbacks too. If you look at what we've got there, you can see the paint is now starting to form a little bit, but we do need to put a couple more layers down on that until we start getting a real road surface. But you can already see there from the texture that's coming up, you are starting to get a gritty road surface just with a couple of covers that I have put on there already. And if I spin it back round, just so it's in focus again, we've got the road from Gauge Master that we had with the Pelican crossing and the start of our pavement using the Metcalfe Models paving slabs. And then for a more modern scene, you can have for a more rural scene, shall I say, you can have the Chooch Enterprises cobblestones, which look really good, either as an old-fashioned road or as something that's ideal for maybe a dockyard or something along those lines too. So have a look at everything we've got. This, as ever, is just a very small selection of what we do have available right now. We have a huge amount of complementary buildings which can go with these, such as petrol stations, bus stops, bus garages, the whole lot. We have them in plastic kits, card kits, various other forms too. We have many other road accessories, including full working traffic lights, which are powered by the mains there too. We've got thousands and thousands of different die-cast vehicles from the UK, the US, Europe and beyond in many, many different scales. So if you're building a road and you need something to put on it, we can certainly get you sorted there too. So do have a look at what we've got. Hope I've taught you a little bit of something with getting started with some of these methods today, and just how easy it is to add a bit of a road to your layout should you wish. It's a great way to add a bit of custom scenery on there and give your layout a little bit of identity for you too. One last question there, and it's a really good one from Onno Mulder, is how would you use the equipment here between the rails? Now, you can cut the different pieces, should you wish, to go between the rails. So if you're having a cobble effect that goes along, say, a dockyard, it's a really good point. What I would do is measure the inside of your rails, but also measure the area which the axles and the wheels touch, and then cut your cobbles to just down the inside of that, so the wheels still have the place to go. But with that being self-adhesive, it will stick down in the center of the rails on top of your sleepers and give a really good effect there. Just make sure on the inside of the rails you're given more than enough room for your wheels and the flanges of the wheels to come down into, and you should have absolutely no issues whatsoever. Maybe I'll cover that in a future video. If you'd like to see it, or you'd like to see any other videos, please do leave a note in the comments, as we are always open to ideas. So that's some really basic ways to get started on roads. Now, there's a huge amount more you can do with this. You can start adding further details, such as potholes or other details on there too. You can add various different lines on the side of your roads. You can add lay-bys, you can add crash barriers, fences, the whole lot. But this really is a basic guide in getting started with getting the basics of a road down onto your layout and adding some of the beginner details onto there too. So check out that link in the description. Every single thing you have seen on show here today is available right now from hattons.co.uk. So it's all available there, ready to order right now, with full pricing information and a lot more instructions on how to use it too. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed today's SkillsCast session. I hope you've learned a little bit more about setting up some of the model railway sessions. Check out more on our layouts and our SkillsCast videos. We have got more on there, a growing range all the time. Shiri, if you have a quick look, there is some guides on there already onto setting our baseboards up, but we will be producing more in the future. And that's just some of these SkillsCast sessions that we have available. So take a look. You may learn something and some great new skills that you didn't think you could do. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page for more great content like this and all the latest model railway news too. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.